Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We want to chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. You know, they put out these celebrations very, very early. I mean, you can look them up way in advance. But holy cow, does it get any more apropos than today for National Water Park Day? I can imagine a lot of people wanting to go to the water parks today. It's hot, and it's going to get hotter and humid. Ugh. You know, I can handle the heat, maybe not as much as it is right now. I do go out to the Coachella Valley quite a bit, but you know, you don't want to have the humidity to go with it, and it's been pretty humid, ugly, and unpleasant the last week, and I guess it's not going to get much better. So if you're near a water park, go indulge on National Water Park Day. And on the other side of the coin, you don't want to leave your chocolate outside. It's National Milk Chocolate Day. And I don't know, that milk chocolate doesn't look exciting, Josh. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, you can't have bad milk chocolate.
It is what it is.
But, you know, you like a little richness and maybe throw an almond or two in there. I don't know. It's milk chocolate, though. You can't go wrong with milk chocolate. I was on a call early this morning, and the question was milk chocolate or dark chocolate. Now, I'm not a dark chocolate person. Every once in a while, dark chocolate with a Merlot or a Zinfandel, you know, then it's okay. But for the most part, you know, if there was only dark chocolate around, I could probably weigh another, 50 pounds less than I weigh today because I love milk chocolate. Doesn't go very good with the shots I've been taking. rsrlinks.com/aminopep. rsrlinks.com/aminopep. So that's where I've actually done all of the writings that we've done discussing the articles I've published on various peptides. And now you see the FDA has come out and they're not endorsing peptides. They're saying there's some reason that they should be studying them. So that's a good thing as well. Let's see what the markets are doing today. Gotta love it. My son likes to call in the middle of the show. It's not like he doesn't know we do a show all the time. Gotta love it. Okay, markets. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 36 points. 10-year Treasury is down 6.5 points. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Wow. That one's up 662 points. Yeah, we like that one. Yahoo! Did we lose the soundboard, Josh? Okay, you've got it there. I just can't hear it. Okay. We've got the NASDAQ up 2.8, S&P 500 is down 27. Oil down $4.33, 421 a barrel. We like it when we see those numbers going that way. So that's going to mean that gas prices will go down. Now, you know as well as I do, I've talked to you about this before. Gas prices go up on the elevator, they go down on the staircase. Just the way it tends to work. So it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen. And we're looking $4.10 a gallon is the national average of a gallon of gasoline, down 1 penny per gallon from yesterday. But we're in California. We went up 1/10 of a cent since yesterday, $5.65. So as normal, you just have to add about $1.50 a gallon to get from the national average to California because we like the taxes. Can't believe it. But that is the way it is. We're going to got a lot of data coming out. It's starting out right now. We've got ADP. So ADP Employment Weekly. Now we didn't until all these government shutdowns, we didn't have these weekly numbers coming out. But we do have weekly numbers now. And ADP shows that their average for the last 4 weeks is 15,000 jobs created. Now, when the average gets dropped and you're using a 4-week running average, takes a multiplier effect to get it to a point where it affects these numbers. So ADP, that number is moving in the wrong direction. And as you know, today starts the 2-day Fed meeting. I don't think we're going to see any changes in pricing, but we don't always know. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, the house that started it all could kickstart what's next. Medicare Advantage looks simple. The fine print is where it gets you. And a will does not avoid probate. Almost nobody learns that until it's too late. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to determine your principal and interest payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, shame on you. rsrlinks.com/calculators. rsrlinks.com/calculators. Rates yesterday, down all of them. Take a look at that. Conventional 30-year fixed, 6.645. Jumbo 30-year fixed, 6.703. FHA 30-year fixed, 6.644. I'm sorry, 6.444. VA 30-year fixed, 6.256. And the USDA 30-year fixed, 6.329. That USDA in the right area, that has no down payment generally, There are other qualifications, but generally a loan that you should be looking at. Just throw that out there for you. What's driving the markets right now? That's the question. So we've got the S&P 500 is up 24 points. Oil is down 442. The 10-year Treasury down almost 7 basis points. We like that. Yahoo! Yeah. And we got the mortgage bond up 32 basis points. Remember, when that bond goes up, we know that the interest rates are going down. So we like to see that one happening in that direction. That's good news for us. Haven't seen that good news in a while, so I'm glad to see it's happening now. But what's driving it? You can go to all the super secret websites and get the information on what I just shared, but they don't give you the driving force. It's all about oil prices continuing to moderate and are trading, as I mentioned, $78.20 a barrel. Today kicks off the Fed's two-day meeting with their rate decision tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 o'clock here on the West Coast. Ex-Fed Governor Stephen Moran spoke on CNBC today. His term was recently just up at the end of May. Moran has been a very dovish outlier, so some of his comments get overlooked, but he is a brilliant guy. He made some very good points this morning on why the Fed should not be hiking. For starters, he said that the inflation measures we have are overstated and pointed to portfolio management. We've talked about that in the past. Portfolio management is not a good source for inflation because portfolio management goes up based on the value of the portfolio, not based on increased fees. So that's something we've talked about, that doesn't get talked about very often. He explained that it's adding 0.4% to the year-over-year inflation, but in fact, it should be deflationary because ETF fees and brokerage fees have been on a race to the bottom, decreasing each year. He also asked what's changed since the last meeting when the Fed unanimously voted to leave rates unchanged. Since then, June core CPI inflation came in with a negative monthly reading, not a reason to hike. He discussed the money supply and inflation expectations back in 2021. He was one of the louder voices saying the Fed should hike because the money supply was rising and inflation expectations were no longer anchored and rising. Now the money supply is stable and inflation expectations are well anchored. Fed futures are pricing in about 1/3 chance of a 25 basis point hike tomorrow. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Warsh wants to do anything. Home appreciation data. Case-Shiller and the FHFA released their appreciation reports this morning for May. Case-Shiller showed that home values rose 0.6% on an unadjusted basis. And over the last 3 months, home values on average nationwide have risen by 2.1%. But because those gains were expected due to seasonality, after adjustments, the reading falls to a flat reading. But homes did actually rise in value. Year over year, home values rose from 0.8% to 1.1%. FHFA, which only measures homes with conforming loan limits and excludes cash transactions, showed that home values rose 0.3% after seasonal adjustments and are up 2.2% year over year, an increase from 2% in the previous report. Important to understand, if you're buying a home, if you're not looking at seasonal adjustments, but rather the raw figures and home values, make sure you explain or understand that home values are rising and that there is an opportunity to purchase and partake in appreciation instead of paying it. As I mentioned in the opening block, in the A block, ADP Weekly, many of the hawkish Fed members are using the recovering labor market in their arguments for a rate hike. But the last BLS jobs report was weak, and the ADP data has been softening and trending lower ever since the temporary impact of the World Cup has faded. ADP released their weekly employment report for the week ending June 11th, showing that on average, there were 15,000 jobs created per week over the past 4 weeks. Based on this morning's reading, it would forecast roughly 65,000 jobs over a full month. Not a good number. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. So if you're thinking about buying a house, make sure you're getting the tools that we offer you. And those tools always come to you for free. Home Buyer's Guide, rsrlinks.com/HBG, rsrlinks.com/HBG. And if you're in contract right now, do you have the best deal possible? Do you know if you have the best deal possible? I'm going to suggest we'll look at it for you. rsrlinks.com/2ndlook, rsrlinks.com/2ND look, like second look, 2ND look. So we take a look at what the documentation you have, and we'll flat out tell you. Do you have a good deal? Is it something that we should be looking at? Do you need some improvement? We look at it, we analyze it, and give you just the raw data. So we're here for you. So take a look at all those things. And if you're one of those people that's been in the conversation lately about home affordability, and there's a lot of people that are worried about that home affordability, I'm going to tell you that the buy down program makes a whole lot of sense on home affordability. rsrlinks.com/buydown, rsrlinks.com/buydown. And finally, we've been talking a lot lately on our newest rollout, the Debt Done Date tool. Debt Done Date tool. Easy for me to say. rsrlinks.com/DDD. And you put in your information, your first mortgage, any home equity lines of credit or second mortgages you have, all of your different debts, your car payments, student loans, unsecured lines of credit, credit cards, put them all in there, and calculates a debt done date for you. Debt done date for you. And it's just a simple tool. And if you're out there looking to buy, don't forget the certified buyer program, rsrlinks.com/certified buyer. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, the house that started it all could kickstart what's next. And a will does not avoid probate. Almost nobody learns that until it's too late. All that and more. Reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. The house that started it all could kickstart what's next. Remember how exciting it was to buy your first place? It felt like crossing a long-awaited finish line. It gave you a place to build your life. Maybe it's where you lived when you got married, or where you welcomed a child or a pet into the family. But that was just the beginning. For most people, your first house was never meant to be your forever home. It's a stepping stone for what comes next. And if your life looks different today than it did when you got the keys, you're not stuck. Moving may be more realistic than you think. If you've been wondering whether now is the right time to move up, here's something worth knowing. Starter homes remain one of the hardest types of homes to find. And that's good news if you're thinking about selling your first place. Historically, we haven't been building enough homes for first-time buyers. And even though home builders have shifted more attention towards smaller, entry-level homes lately, the census shows there's a long way to go to rebuild supply. And I don't know if we've got the graph here, but we have a graph of the long road back for starter homes. Number of single-family homes under 1,400 square feet built each year in thousands. That's the numbers. That means your current house is in demand. And that's a dream scenario for sellers, but that's only half the story. You also need somewhere to go. And I'm going to tell you, we're working on a book right now. It'll probably be out in the fall, talking about how to retire by keeping that starter home. If you keep that starter, and if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing that chart. But as I was saying, keep that home, refinance it, take some of your equity out to buy the next home, to buy your move up. Keep this one, rent it out, and do that 4 or 5 times over a 20-year period. You'll have more money than you know what to do with in retirement. But let's get back to it. There are more move-up homes on the market. Here's where it gets interesting. While the supply of starter homes remains light, data from Redfin shows that the number of homes for sale has been climbing overall. And you can see that on the next chart that we have. There aren't nearly as many starter homes for sale. As Nadia Vangelo, principal economist and director of real estate research at the National Association of Realtors, explains, too much of the inventory available today remains concentrated at higher price points, leaving a shortage of options for entry-level and middle-income buyers, unquote. That means you may have more choices for your move-up than you'd expect. Whether you're hoping for another bedroom, a home office, a bigger backyard, or simply more room for this next stage of life, today's market may finally be giving you the chance to build it or to find it. At the same time, your current house may be exactly what someone else has been looking for because homes like yours are in short supply. That's a unique advantage for move-up buyers, and it could help you sell for a stronger price. As Zillow says, starter home value appreciation has outpaced other types of homes nationally, mostly because they're so in demand. Here's the cherry on top. There's one more thing your first home has been doing behind the scenes, and that's building equity. Every mortgage payment you've made, every year your home's value has grown, has quietly increased your home ownership stake in your house. Want to know what it's worth? rsrlinks.com/home value. Is it home value? Is that the one that we've set up? I got so many of these links on here. Sometimes I forget which is the right one. Let's see, rsrlinks.com/home report. rsrlinks.com/home report. Yes, I have my cheat sheet, but sometimes I don't have it right on the screen for us. rsrlinks.com/home report. According to Totality, the average homeowner with a mortgage has $295,000 in equity built up. Yeah. And that might be double here in Southern California. While your number may be different once you sell, it could become the down payment on your next home or help reduce the amount you need to borrow at today's rates. Put it all together and your move up becomes a lot more realistic than you think. The house you're selling is in demand. The house you're buying may be easier to find, and the equity you've built can help bridge the gap between the two. Your first home did exactly what it was supposed to. It gave you a place to start. Now it may be the thing that helps you take the next step. Bottom line, your first home was never meant to be your forever home. It was meant to help you build a life and build the financial foundation for whatever came next. Now, we've also put together a tool, no advertising, no obligation. This one's allowing you to go and find your next home. rsrlinks.com/home shopping. rsrlinks.com/home shopping. And you can go in there, get registered. It's free. You can put in parameters of where you want to live, some of the different attributes of the house you want, and you'll get a report each day on new properties that are hitting the market that fits your goals. And I share this one with a lot of folks. I'm sorry, that's the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. So when you go to home shopping, rsrlinks.com/home shopping, put in the number you can afford. Don't put in your dream house. Because when you go and put in the dream house, well, when you go and put in what you can afford, you're disappointed. If you're shopping for a $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 house, and you put in your parameters for $2 million, well, when you start getting into the price range that fits your budget, you're not excited. And you should be, because you're buying your own house. So look at what your property's worth, rsrlinks.com/home report, no space, rsrlinks.com/home report. You can go into rsrlinks.com/home shopping to find your new house. And obviously rsrlinks.com/HBG to get your home buyer's guide. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we've got a will does not avoid probate. Almost nobody learns that lesson until it's too late. And we're going to also talk about Medicare Advantage. Looks simple. The fine print is where it gets you. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. If your mom owns a home worth $1 million, but she still owes $700,000 on it, how much do you think your family could lose to probate court? Most people guess based on $300,000 in equity. The real answer is, I guess I should have had this ready, but I didn't. Well, we're going to go by it. The real answer is that the fees get calculated on the full $1 million. And that is just the first surprise. I am Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. I am not an attorney. I do not sell estate documents. For more than 40 years, since 1983, I've helped families protect the biggest asset most of them will ever own, which is the home. And probate sits right where the home, the mortgage, and the family all come together. It's not something most people face every day, but when it comes hard. So it's worth understanding before you need it. Let me start with the thing almost nobody knows until it's too late. When someone passes away and owns a home in their name, that home does not just flow to the family. In many cases, it has to go through a legal process called probate. Probate is the court's way of proving the will, paying the final debts, and moving what is left to the right people. Here's the part that shocks folks. Having a will does not avoid probate. A will just tells the court who you want in charge and who you wanted to inherit. The court still runs the show. The only reliable ways to keep the home out of probate are set up while you're still living. Now, there is some good news for California families in 2026. A new law called Assembly Bill 2016 took effect in 2025 and made it easier for a lot of people for deaths on or after April 1st, 2025. A person's main home worth up to $750,000 can now pass through a streamlined court petition instead of a full probate. That can save a family a year or more, but listen closely because there are conditions. It only works for the primary residence. It does not cover a rental or a vacation home, and the home is worth more than $750,000, and it is not in a trust. You're most likely headed into full probate. So what does full probate actually look like? Let me walk you through it because this is where families get blindsided. First, the time. California probate typically runs 12 to 18 months. Simple cases might close in 9 to 12. But if there is a fight among the heirs or the case is in a busy county like Los Angeles or Orange, it can stretch past 2 years. And here's a floor you can't get around. There is a 4-month window where creditors are allowed to file claims, and that window cannot be shortened. So even a perfect, simple probate almost never closes in under 6 to 8 months. Second, the cost. California is one of the few states that sets attorney and executor fees by law as a percentage of the estate. And two things about those fees really sting. Number one, the fee is paid to the executor and then again separately to the attorney. So the ordinary cost is basically double. Number two, and I mentioned this at the top, the fee is calculated on gross value, not on your equity. Let me give you a real example. Take an estate worth $600,000. The statutory fee works out to about $15,000. Pay that to both the executor and the attorney, and you're at $30,000. Add in court filing fees, the appraiser, publication, and a possible bond, and you're looking at around $32,000 to $34,000. Gone. Money that was supposed to go to the kids. Let me tell you about a client situation that stays with me. A woman's mother passed away last year. The family thought they could close mom's bank account with a death certificate and sell the house. That is not how it works. The bank froze the account. The title company would not transfer the property. Everything locked up. Why? Because mom did not have a living trust. So the estate had to go through probate. 18 months later, they were still waiting and the fees kept climbing. Now, why can families not just walk in with a death certificate and take care of it? Because the moment a death certificate is filed, that information travels electronically to Social Security, the banks, the institutions. Accounts get frozen. Title companies will not move the property. The system stays locked until someone has legal authority, and that authority comes from one of the two places, the probate court or a living trust set up in advance. There is one more trap I have to warn you about because it catches more Californians and families than any other. It is called Proposition 19. When you inherit a parent's home, you do not automatically keep their low property tax bill. If you do not move into that home as your primary residence and file for the exemption within 1 year, the county reassesses the property to full market value. I've seen families plan to keep mom's old house as a rental only to watch the property taxes double or triple overnight. Nobody warned them, so consider yourself warned. And here's something else about probate that people do not realize. It's public. Once the case is opened, the will, the list of assets, the values, the names of all the heirs become public record. Anyone can look it up. A living trust, on the other hand, stays private. So what does all of this mean for you? It means the time to plan is now while everyone is still here. A living trust is not just a document, it's a system. The paper is maybe 20% of the job. The other 80% is doing it right. Funding the trust, make sure the home's title actually matches the trust, making sure the mortgage and the property tax strategy line up. I've watched families with the same house end up in completely different places. One printed a document and filed it in a drawer, never changed the title, and walked right into probate anyway. The other had a professional check every piece. On paper, they both looked protected. Only one of them actually was, and you never see the difference until the moment it matters most, when it is too late to fix. Remember what I always say, strategy beats rate always. That is just as true for settling an estate as it is for a mortgage. A little strategy now can save your family many months and tens of thousands of dollars later. So here's what I want you to do. If you have a trust sitting in a drawer, or you've been meaning to start one, or you're helping a parent think this through, let a professional pressure test it. I work with an attorney-supervised trust firm that handles this the right way. Go to rsrlinks.com/estate. That's rsrlinks.com/estate. Let real professionals make sure your family is actually protected and not just holding a nice-looking piece of paper or book. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free. Every fall, millions of people pick a Medicare plan in about the same amount of time it takes to order lunch. And a lot of them never read the part that matters most. I'm Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Let me start with something important because I want to be straight with you. I am not an insurance agent. I do not sell Medicare plans, and I do not earn a dime from them. What I do is help families see the whole financial picture, and when insurance is part of that, I point you to trusted agents who handle it the right way. So think of this as a friend explaining the map, not someone selling you a ticket. Now, Medicare Advantage. Sometimes people call it Part C. It's kind of a catch-all option offered by private insurers that works alongside Medicare. And on the surface, it looks great. You get your hospital coverage, your medical coverage, and often extras like prescription drugs, dental, hearing, and vision, all bundled together. Sounds simple. Sounds almost free. And that is exactly where people stop reading. Here's what nobody tells you. Medicare pays the plan a fixed amount for your care. Everything beyond that is on you. And those out-of-pocket costs are different from plan to plan. One plan might have low costs for the doctor you use, and high costs for the specialist you need. Another might be the reverse. There are also rules. Some plans make you get a referral before you see a specialist. Some limit non-urgent care, even from providers inside the network. None of that shows up in the shiny brochure. And here's the part that trips up even smart, careful people. The rules can change every single year. The plan that fit you perfectly this year might drop your doctor or change your drug coverage next year. If you're not paying attention, you find out at the worst possible moment, standing at the pharmacy counter or sitting in a waiting room. What about prescriptions? Most Advantage plans cover drug coverage, but not all of them. A medical savings account plan, for example, might not. In that case, you may be able to add a separate drug plan, but only certain plan types allow it. Again, details that matter, buried where most people never look. So what does this mean for you? It means Medicare Advantage is not one choice. It is a set of trade-offs, and the right answer depends entirely on your health, your doctors, your prescriptions, and your budget. The plan with the most features is not automatically the best plan for you. Now, here is where my world and your health care actually connect. Health costs are one of the biggest expenses in retirement, and the way you handle debt, cash flow, and liquidity in your 50s and 60s decides how much room you have to absorb those costs later. Strategy beats rate always. That is true for a mortgage, And it is just as true for how you plan the whole picture heading into retirement. Picture a couple approaching 65. They have some equity, a manageable mortgage, and a little credit card debt. They keep meaning to clean up. If they walk into Medicare season with their cash flow tight and their debt scattered, every plan feels expensive and every choice feels stressful. But if they have their household finances organized first, they can pick the Medicare plan that actually fits instead of the cheapest sticker price. That is the connection. Get the money side steady, then let a trusted insurance professional help you choose the coverage. If you want a simple place to organize the money side of your life, budget, credit, and next steps, I want to give you access to a tool called Key Steps. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. And when it comes to the actual Medicare plan, talk to a licensed agent you trust, and I can put you in touch with him or her. I am Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. That's Your Credit Matters, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money. You can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.